There are new bombshell claims today from royal insiders who say King Charles's cancer is incurable and he will likely die with the disease.
For weeks, Prince William had carried a truth too painful to speak and too dangerous to conceal. Then, behind 0:1818 seconds closed doors at Kensington Palace, he finally stopped protecting the silence. 0:2323 seconds his voice faltered only once as he confirmed that King Charles was gravely unwell, that treatment had failed to 0:30 seconds deliver the recovery everyone had hoped for, and that the family had been told his illness could no longer be cured. 0:3737 seconds before we go deeper into what this really means for the royal family. Make sure to subscribe so you don't miss a single update. William had avoided the 0:4646 seconds moment for days. In public, the prince answered questions with careful phrases, thanked well-wishers, and moved toward 0:5454 seconds his next duty. But every controlled response hid the same fear. His father's condition was changing faster than the palace could admit. Music, the royal 1:031 minute, 3 seconds household. The staff and advisors who organized the monarch's public and constitutional work had begun reconsidering ceremonies. Overseas 1:121 minute, 12 seconds travel, state responsibilities, and succession planning. Charles's illness was no longer only a private medical 1:191 minute, 19 seconds battle. It was reshaping the crown itself. William gathered Catherine and 2 senior advisors inside a sitting 1:261 minute, 26 seconds room at Kensington Palace. According to a documented account created for this dramatized narrative, the future king 1:331 minute, 33 seconds placed a sealed medical summary on the table and said the words plainly. The fictional medical team had concluded that the cancer could no longer be 1:411 minute, 41 seconds cured. Although treatment would continue to control the disease and protect his quality of life, he did not sit 1:481 minute, 48 seconds instead. He gripped the back of a chair until his knuckles whitened. Catherine watched his face change. She stepped 1:561 minute, 56 seconds beside him, but William looked away, unable to bear the sympathy in her eyes. 2:012 minutes, 1 second for months. He had tried to behave like an heir preparing for duty. In that room, he was only a son, confronting 2:082 minutes, 8 seconds losing his father. The princess touched his arm, and he admitted that speaking the truth aloud made everything suddenly 2:162 minutes, 16 seconds feel brutally irreversible. Then the sealed summary revealed something worse. 2:212 minutes, 21 seconds. Charles had learned the full prognosis several days earlier, and ordered his staff to delay telling William until after an important public engagement. 2:302 minutes, 30 seconds. The king had also begun altering his final royal schedule, removing exhausting appearances, while personally selecting the duties he still intended. 2:392 minutes, 39 seconds still complete. William stared at the revised pages, then set them down slowly. His voice dropped as he asked 2:462 minutes, 46 seconds whether his father was preparing merely for fewer duties or preparing the family for a final goodbye. But to understand 2:542 minutes, 54 seconds why those words wounded William so deeply. The truth must move beyond the diagnosis and into the complicated bond. 3:013 minutes, 1 second between a father, a son, and the crown waiting between them. The world saw a king facing illness and an heir. 3:093 minutes, 9 seconds preparing to replace him. William saw something far more painful. Music. He saw the father whose approval he had 3:163 minutes, 16 seconds chased, resisted, and quietly needed for most of his life. Every disagreement now felt sharper. Every unfinished 3:243 minutes, 24 seconds conversation carried new danger, and beneath the constitutional preparation was one unbearable possibility. The 3:313 minutes, 31 seconds crown might reach William only because Charles could no longer carry it. William had spent years learning how to speak to his father without allowing old pain to enter every sentence. Their relationship had been shaped by duty. 3:443 minutes, 44 seconds family loss, opposing instincts, and the constant pressure of knowing that one reign would eventually give way to another. The crown was not simply a 3:5:33 minutes, 53 seconds jeweled symbol. It represented the monarch's authority, responsibilities, and lifelong burden of service. Charles 4:0:14 minutes. 1 second believed that burden required discipline. His son believed it also demanded change. Their arguments had often been about the monarchy's future. 4:1:04 minutes. 10 seconds, but now the prince wondered whether he had spent too much time challenging the king and too little time understanding the man beneath the title. Catherine 4:194 minutes. 19 seconds recognized what William refused to admit. His growing workload was not only preparation for greater responsibility. 4:264 minutes. 26 seconds it was an attempt to outrun fear. She watched him accept more meetings, study longer briefing papers, and fill every 4:334 minutes. 33 seconds quiet hour with work, because silence left room for thoughts he could not control. The princess remained his emotional anchor, yet even she could not remove the guilt pressing against him. For 4:44 minutes, 44 seconds, he remembered sharp conversations with Charles, doors closed too firmly, and words spoken with the confidence that 4:5:24 minutes, 52 seconds there would always be time to repair them. Charles carried a different fear. For 5:64 minutes, 56 seconds, he worried that his son's compassion might become hesitation when difficult decisions arrived. The king wanted William prepared for succession. The 5:055 minutes, 5 seconds legal and ceremonial process through which the crown passes to the next monarch. But every discussion sounded to the future king like surrender. Each 5:145 minutes, 14 seconds time his father mentioned continuity. He heard goodbye. Each time Charles spoke about readiness, the prince felt the 5:215 minutes, 21 seconds distance between them grow. William found the handwritten note at Windsor inside an old briefing folder. Charles 5:295 minutes, 29 seconds had praised how calmly his son had handled a difficult engagement and written that he was proud of the man William had become. The prince read 5:375 minutes, 37 seconds those lines twice. His hands trembled as he closed the folder because the approval he had quietly wanted for years 5:445 minutes, 44 seconds had reached him at the moment he feared losing its author. Catherine then disclosed a private recorded conversation in which Charles had asked 5:5:25 minutes, 52 seconds her to stop William from isolating himself when pressure became unbearable. 5:575 minutes, 57 seconds. The revelation proved that the monarch had been preparing emotionally, not only constitutionally. Camilla had received 6:046 minutes, 4 seconds instructions, too. But when the prince questioned her, the queen consort refused to reveal them. Her silence left 6:116 minutes, 11 seconds him certain that everyone closest to his father carried a different piece of the plan. That conversation began not with 6:186 minutes, 18 seconds a public announcement or the medical report, but during one private ceremony when Charles's body betrayed what his words were still determined to deny. 6:286 minutes, 28 seconds long before William spoke. There had been a moment the palace could not erase. It happened during a private investiture at Windsor Castle when 6:376 minutes, 37 seconds Charles reached for a medal, lost his balance, and froze beside the chair prepared for him. The room remained 6:446 minutes, 44 seconds silent. William stepped forward instinctively, but the king raised one hand and stopped him. That gesture, 6:526 minutes, 52 seconds proud, frightened, and absolute, became the moment everything changed. Charles had continued working through the 6:596 minutes, 59 seconds hardest periods of treatment, because he refused to let illness become the defining image of his reign. An investiture is a formal ceremony in 7:097 minutes, 9 seconds which the monarch presents honors to people recognized for service or achievement, and every movement carries meaning. The king believed canceling 7:177 minutes, 17 seconds such duties would allow fear to replace authority. Yet palace staff already understood how fragile that authority 7:257 minutes, 25 seconds had become. They shortened receiving lines, moved engagements closer together, added private rest, music periods, and placed chairs in rooms 7:347 minutes, 34 seconds where Charles had once stood without assistance for hours. The ceremony moved forward until the monarch reached for another medal. His fingers missed it. 7:437 minutes, 43 seconds. His knees weakened. Music. And William caught his arm before he fell. Charles whispered, "Not here." Then pulled 7:517 minutes, 51 seconds himself upright, and ordered the presentation to continue. The prince obeyed, but anger burned beneath his 7:577 minutes, 57 second silence. Duty had stopped protecting his father. It was now placing him in danger. Charles felt something 8:048 minutes, 4 seconds different. Humiliation. His son had witnessed the exact moment his body no longer answered his command, and the king could not forgive the weakness. 8:138 minutes, 13 seconds, even though it was not his fault. He completed the ceremony through sheer resolve, offering careful words to each 8:208 minutes, 20 seconds recipient, while William watched every breath and every uncertain movement. 8:268 minutes, 26 seconds. Their success before the guests only deepened the suffering waiting behind the closed door. Music. William followed his father into an adjoining 8:348 minutes, 34 seconds room as soon as the final guest departed. He demanded the full medical truth, asking how many times this had happened and why no one had warned him. 8:438 minutes, 43 seconds. Charles struck the arm of the chair with his palm and told the prince that he must learn the difference between loving the sovereign and managing the 8:528 minutes, 52 seconds institution. The future king answered that no institution was worth watching his father collapse for the sake of appearances. A physician entered before 9:009 minutes. Either man could retreat. He insisted upon an immediate assessment, meaning a complete medical examination to determine whether the sudden weakness 9:099 minutes, 9 seconds signaled a serious change. The fictional tests that followed would lead directly to the prognosis, William later revealed. Worse still, a documented palace account showed that Charles had experienced similar episodes before. Staff had been 9:259 minutes, 25 seconds ordered to describe them as ordinary fatigue and protect the monarch's privacy. William understood then that the silence had not begun that 9:339 minutes, 33 seconds afternoon. It had been carefully built around him. The argument at Windsor never truly ended, and days later, 9:409 minutes, 40 seconds, father and son would face each other again without guests, ceremony, or excuses. When William finally entered 9:479 minutes, 47 seconds, his father's private room, he was not approaching a monarch for instructions. 9:529 minutes, 52 seconds, he was confronting a man who had chosen silence over the trust of his own son. 9:579 minutes, 57 seconds, the door closed behind William, leaving father and son without aids, quarters, or carefully prepared statements. 10:0510 minutes, 5 seconds, Charles remained seated beside the window, a medical file resting unopened across his knees. William did not bow. 10:1310 minutes, 13 seconds, he did not begin with duty. He looked directly at the king and asked the question that had been building since Windsor. Why did everyone know how ill 10:2110 minutes, 21 seconds you were before I did? Charles had requested the meeting after learning that his son had read the complete prognosis and begun questioning senior 10:30 minutes, 30 seconds household officials. Quarters were trusted palace advisors who helped manage the sovereign's duties. Messages 10:36 minutes, 36 seconds. Music 10:37 minutes, 37 seconds, and private arrangements. Yet, the prince now saw them as part of a wall built around his father. The monarch considered medical privacy one of the last boundaries, still under his control. 10:48 minutes, 48 seconds. William believed that concealment had endangered their relationship and left the institution unprepared for a crisis no one could keep hidden forever. 10:56 10 minutes. 56 seconds. William pulled a chair away from the table, but he refused to sit. He accused Charles of treating him like an employee. 11:04 minutes. For seconds who received information only when it became operationally necessary. Not like a son entitled to know that his father. 11:11 minutes. 11 seconds was frightened and suffering. The king tightened his grip on the file. He answered that uncertainty could become its own prison, and he had wanted to. 11:19 minutes. 19 seconds protect William, Catherine, and their children from living beneath a countdown that medicine could not measure. Charles set the document beside him. His voice. 11:28 minutes. 28 seconds dropped as he admitted the real reason for the silence. He could not bear to watch hope disappear from his son's face. The confession struck harder than any argument. William's anger broke. 11:39 minutes. 39 seconds. Music. He told his father that secrecy had not spared him pain. It had stolen days when they might have spoken honestly, repaired old wounds, and faced. 11:49 minutes. 49 seconds of fear together. The prince finally sat, but the distance between them still felt enormous. Charles then disclosed. 11:56 minutes. 56 seconds through a recorded private account prepared for the family that he had already made personal messages for William, Catherine, Camilla, and 12:06 minutes. 6 seconds as grandchildren. Each recording was to remain sealed unless his condition sharply deteriorated. The king said he. 12:14 minutes. 14 seconds wanted his voice to reach them, even if weakness later denied him the chance. 12:19 minutes. 19 seconds. Charles delivered the second revelation without looking away. A transition plan had already been activated, not an abdication, which would mean formally. 12:28 minutes. 28 seconds giving up the throne, but a controlled transfer of selected responsibilities intended to prevent a sudden constitutional shock. William asked who. 12:37 minutes. 37 seconds had authorized it, expecting the answer to be doctors or senior officials. The monarch placed one hand on the file and. 12:44 minutes. 44 seconds said he had made the decision himself before anyone else knew the full prognosis. Behind that painful exchange. 12:51 minutes. 51 seconds stood a decision Charles had already signed, one that would quietly shift power toward William while forcing every member of the family to choose where. 13:00 minutes loyalty truly belonged. The document contained no dramatic declaration and no surrender of the throne. Yet Charles's. 13:08 minutes. 8-second signature changed the balance of royal power. With a single deliberate stroke, the king approved a temporary framework. 13:16 minutes. 16 seconds giving William greater authority over major engagements, long-term planning, and communication with senior officials. 13:23 minutes. 23 seconds. It was not abdication. It was something more emotionally complicated. A father preparing his son to lead, while still. 13:31 minutes. 31 seconds fighting to remain present. Charles sat alone with the final page before him. 13:35 minutes. 35 seconds. The temporary framework was an internal plan allowing selected royal responsibilities to pass to another working member of the family without. 13:44 minutes. 44 seconds changing who remained monarch. It protected continuity while treatment limited the king's strength. But the meaning beneath the careful language was. 13:52 minutes. 52 seconds impossible to ignore. Officials wanted stability. William wanted honesty.